Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to the marketplace. Coming up this afternoon, Finance Minister Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam reveals Ghana is here to complete the total debt restructuring program.
Funding restructuring with our commercial creditors involving about $2.7 billion. We are working very hard to conclude that.
Also coming up, banks move to blacklist routine loan defaulters as part of measures to deal with the rise in non-performing loans.
Ghana, we are almost there. We are gradually coming to the level where, it's automatic.
Plus, Minister of Communications Eslo Sekufo praises Ghana's progress in cybersecurity but emphasizes that significant work remains.
2017, we were 32%. Now we are 99.27%. And the ITU classifies Ghana as a tier 1 country, a role model for others to emulate.
My name is Darryl Carr. Thanks for being with us. Details coming up. Thanks for staying with us on the marketplace. First up, Finance Minister Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam has revealed that Ghana is here to complete the total debt restructuring program. This is despite closing the chapter on the domestic and external debt, including bilateral creditors and Eurobond holders. But speaking on an IMF Today program in Washington, D.C., the Minister of Finance noted that the government is concluding work or is working to conclude the $2.7 billion owed commercial bilateral creditors.
As part of our arrangement with the IMF, we decided to restructure our debts to bring our debts to sustainable levels. We started with our domestic debt restructuring, and the sacrifices of our people ensured that we concluded that restructuring with about 95% or more participation. So it was greatly a success. We followed that with the restructuring of our bilateral debt with our bilateral creditors. That was also very successful in a negotiation between us and the Official Creditor Committee for Ghana. And this led to significant savings, debt service relief of about $2.8 billion. And then following this is our restructuring of the Eurobonds. The Eurobonds, about $13 billion. That was concluded in the first week of this month. Another great success because we saw over 98% participation in the debt exchange. The benefits we have derived from this so far includes an outright debt cancellation of about $5 billion and another debt service relief of about $4.3 billion. And so between the bilateral creditors and the Eurobonds, you are talking about savings of about $12 billion. So we think this is a very great success. We are still having an outstanding restructuring with our commercial creditors involving about $2.7 billion. We are working very hard to conclude that. So far, I can say that we have been pretty successful at our restructuring. The participation has been great, and we see ourselves moving on the path to debt sustainability. Why we succeeded, which other countries need to take into consideration in their restructuring, is number one, what we call fair burden sharing. Because we had to do domestic debt exchange, which you haven't seen many countries do. We had to do that first to demonstrate our ability and our capacity to sacrifice the sacrifice of our people in biting part of the bullet before we went out to do the external debt restructuring. And so because of that, the bilateral creditors as well as our Eurobond holders saw Ghana's seriousness and readiness to change.
Meanwhile, the IMF is projecting that Ghana's debt to GDP ratio will hit 82.9% by the end of this year. This was captured in the latest fiscal monitor report released by the fund in Washington, D.C. Here's George Afe.
Ghana's total debt stock as a percentage of GDP ending July this year is about 75%. Now, if we look at it in monetary terms, it's around 761 billion Ghana cedis. Now, with the IMF projection that we would end the year with the debt stock as a percentage of GDP at around 83%, one can make that intelligent guess that our debt stock could be going up further at the end of this year. Some have argued that then what is the impact of this whole domestic debt exchange program in reducing our debt to sustainable levels? Could it be that the Ghana cedi could be depreciating further going into the last round of this year, or the economy might not expand that much to accommodate government's rising expenditure? Some have raised questions about the impact of this whole domestic debt exchange program on our debt numbers. The IMF has actually projected that by the end of 2028, our debt stock should reduce significantly to about 50% of the total value of the economy. So what is happening? Well, engaging government officials on this, they have argued that this fiscal report didn't factor the current numbers when it comes to the work that they've done on the domestic debt exchange program, as well as the external debt exchange program. The finance minister in engagement yesterday argued that they are now just left to restructure some $2.7 billion when it comes to the commercial bilateral creditors. Well, the verdict is out there about why these projections are high when it comes to the IMF fiscal report, as you're looking at we ending the year with the debt stock or a percentage of GDP at around 83%. Some might be worried about what is happening to the numbers and whether indeed what government is doing is indeed going to impact debt numbers, and also whether we are on track to reduce our debt to sustainable levels by the end of 2028. From the headquarters, the IMF building in Washington, D.C., this is George Afe reporting for Joy Business.
Now, the Ghana Association of Banks is intensifying efforts to tighten oversight in the banking sector, focusing on enhanced lifestyle audits to curb the surge in internal fraud. Now, this measure follows a reported loss of over 60 million cedis in revenue due to fraudulent activities. Acknowledging the setback, the association's president, John Ewa, stressed the need for stringent lifestyle monitoring to hold banking staff accountable. He spoke on PM Express.
Fraud is a very dicey thing. I mean, sometimes we talk about fraud within the banking system as though the banks have a certain cluster of a subset of the country that we replace. No, one moment. Let me land on this.
Minimize
let me land on this because we need to set our eyes on the bigger picture. Banks are recruiting Ghanaians, and the fraud incidents you are having when you deal with your mason or your carpenter, when your eye is not there, when you deal with the man on the street, the trotro driver or the mate or the house help, the fraud occurrence that we record as individuals upon all the controls that we have, we should know that the banks are recruiting from this population. So it is the same kind of people, irrespective of the level of scrutiny or the sanction screening that we use, going through police report. I don't know how many companies in this country, whenever we are recruiting, take steps to go to the police, to get police report about. We do all that, but we still get miscreants in our phone.
Maybe you have to up your skill a little bit.
And then we are doing that, and that is why you cannot just rely on that system. Banks are investing in technology that can help us to proactively prevent not just detect, but prevent the fraud from happening in the first place. And that includes so many things. Investing in systems that helps you, data analytics that helps in prevention, and even, if one or two pass through, your ability to also detect, quickly, so that you can stop the bleeding from happening again.
Meanwhile, commercial banks are moving forward with plans to blacklist individuals with poor loan repayment histories as part of a broader strategy to address rising loan defaults and reduce the cost of credit. The blacklist initiative is expected to support the Ghana Credit Reference Bureau's efforts in monitoring credit worthiness more effectively. Here's Johnny Wa again.
We need a system that gives an opportunity for the banks to have a 360 view of a borrowing client, so that we know that WFA has come to Bank A to borrow. WFA has no default in the banking industry. We have checked. He has no rental default. He has no supplier credit that he's not meeting covenants. Even children's school fees, he's meeting them and he's not in default. All these things are credit risk points that banks are supposed to have access to. Do we? No. Because we are highly regulated, we are expected to report. But GREL, Ghana Real Estate Company Limited, or this, I don't know whether we have association of property owners who are also the landlords.
There is a real association.
Do we have a system where they also do these kind of checks? Even if somebody is coming to rent a house from you, you should have a system where you check on this person, whether this person coming to rent my property has defaulted on the property they were moving from. We don't. And these are structures that I'm happy to say, working with the Bank of Ghana, we are almost there. We are gradually coming to the level where, it's automatic. I mean, which bank, knowing that you are a routine defaulter, will continue lending money to you? No.
Turning to other news, the Ministry of Works and Housing is pushing for the use of local raw materials for infrastructure projects across the country. Deputy Minister Dr. Prince Hamid Amar said this is key to reduce the impact of climate change on the building and construction industry. Speaking at the launch of a roadmap to decarbonize Ghana's construction and building sector, he reaffirmed government's commitment in addressing the housing challenges.
This sector accounts for over a third of global energy. That's about 37% of global energy related carbon emissions. It is also responsible for 40% of global energy consumption, 30% of raw material extraction, 12% of global water consumption, and 20% of waste generation. These statistics highlight the urgent need for us to mitigate the environmental impact of the construction industry. The roadmap we present today outlines strategic actions aimed at minimizing the environmental footprint,
Now, Communications Minister Eslo Kufo has praised Ghana's progress in cybersecurity, but emphasized that significant work remains, especially in building a robust ecosystem with world-class standards. Ghana's efforts have earned it a prestigious Tier 1 ranking in the 2024 Global Cybersecurity Index, positioning the country as a global leader in cybersecurity practices. At the launch of the Cybersecurity Forum in Accra, she highlighted the need to close the cyber skills and talent gap to sustain these achievements. Carlos Caloni has more.
Ghana's cybersecurity efforts have gained global recognition, rising from 32.6% in 2017 to 99.27% in the latest Global Cybersecurity Index, making it a Tier 1 nation and role model. This highlights the country's commitment to building a resilient digital ecosystem. At the launch of the Cybersecurity Industry Forum and the inauguration of 18 independent assessors, Minister for Communications and Digitalization, Esla Osu Ekofo, stressed the importance of collaboration in tackling cybersecurity challenges, noting that despite progress, more work is needed to create a robust, world-class ecosystem.
2017, we were 32%. Now we are 99.27%. And the ITU classifies Ghana as a tier 1 country, a role model for others to emulate. I wouldn't say we've arrived. Like I said, it's all these things that we've done that have enabled us to attain this ranking, because most countries aren't doing what we're doing. Now, what else can we do to sustain that ranking? And that's the challenge that I'm leaving with the Cybersecurity Authority. But I know they're up to the task.
At the launch, Rwanda's High Commissioner to Ghana, Rosemary Imbabazi, highlighted the growing use of digital platforms for intra-African trade and the increasing cyber threats that come with it, stressing the need for stronger cybersecurity. Director General of the Cybersecurity Authority, Dr. Albert Entwe Boisiako, noted that Independent Assessors Initiative would support CSA's effort to create a more secure cyberspace for the country.
The idea of the assessors is support what the CSA is doing. Now we've accredited cybersecurity establishment, a SOC, a set. What is the end goal of that accreditation? Is to ensure that if you own this infrastructure or a facility, you are operating consistent with best practice. That is all. Now, how do we ascertain that these institutions, whether process-wise, people's-wise, or technology-wise, are consistent with best practice? Going forward, in terms of the field audit and assessment, it's not just CSA staff which are going to conduct the audit. We believe this is an industry thing. So the idea of the independent assessors is to bring in this expertise, to join the offices of the CSA. So if we come into Bank A to ascertain, to check, to audit your SOC establishments, we will incorporate those independent assessors into the picture. It's an industry-driven thing.
Some independent assessors believe the new initiative will significantly strengthen the country's cybersecurity.
We are in danger that if we do not do it, then we will be in big trouble. So it's something that I guess we don't have a choice.
What the assessors are supposed to do is to help owners of critical information infrastructure to ensure that the systems that they have put in place to protect the information that they are keeping is done up to the scratch.
The industry forum is anticipated to strengthen the nation's efforts in addressing emerging cyber threats. For joining news, Carlos Caloni, Accra.
All right, now Pan-African Systems Solutions Company, CWG Ghana, has partnered with software development company Precise Financial System to provide Clerec, an AI-enabled account reconciliation tool that simplifies the process and helps organizations. The two organizations believe the partnership will equip businesses, particularly financial institutions, to keep good financial records that will ensure good corporate governance. Here's more.
Pan-African Systems Solutions Company, CWG, and software development company Precise Financial System engage a number of businesses in Accra to highlight the importance of account reconciliation. Speaking to Joy Business after engaging the businesses, Deputy Managing Director of Precise Financial Systems, Philip Ayeni, said the platform is designed to enhance efficiency in reconciliation processes to boost work output.
It is just that it is much more pronounced in financial institutions. Pronounced in the sense that there are volumes, millions of transactions they do every day. So much pronounced because of the type of reconciliations they do. They do their nostro accounts, their vostro accounts, their suspense accounts, their e-business accounts, their ATMs, and so many other types of accounts. And these are volumes. You have some banks that have, thousands, tens of thousands of accounts they reconcile, which they have to do on a daily basis. So how many people do you want to employ?
Providing more details, Head of Project Management and Corporate Development for CWG Ghana, Oluwaseun Layade, explained that the Cleric AI-enabled account reconciliation tool will help businesses reduce manual processes which are exposed to fraud.
we understand that organizations cannot do what they need to do today without the power of technology. CWG is a Pan-African company that's been in existence for over 30 years, and in Ghana, we've been in Ghana for over 20 years. Technology is our business. And so looking at what we do, which is to be an enabler for businesses to be able to do what they need to do as far as their core is concerned. We have come in partnership with PFS from Nigeria, who have an account reconciliation solution.
Turning to a Greek now, and 68% of soils in the Amansia East, Bosomtwe and Bosomefrel districts of the Ashanti region are reported to be turning more acidic. Now, this is contained in a recently conducted research by the Soil Research Institute of the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research under its first fertility mapping project for the entire country. The researchers attribute the unhealthy nature of the soils to excessive application of inorganic fertilizer and poor farming practices. Well, in this weekend's episode of Food Chain, Emmanuel Bright Kweku speaks with farmers who are lamenting poor harvests and the researchers who are advising the use of limestone and other regenerative techniques to restore the land.
Augustine Fosu and his colleague farmer, Augustine Nkrumah, joined a team of researchers to fetch samples of sand from their farm to be tested at the laboratory. The exercise is to know the soil profile of their parcel of land. They both farm in Yasi Ejamfo, a suburb of Kuntanase, the district capital of Bosomtwe in the Ashanti region. In recent years, the two farmers have failed to cultivate enough from their piece of land handed them by their forefathers.
Last year, me in Nkrumah, na me timete rubber kese no 15 acre. But this year, I'm a mo aye kwa afuo mu a mo hunu se dia esiti a no bai na ye basa no. Na tia rubber mienu pe.
The unhealthy and dwindling harvest prompted their over-reliance on pesticides and other inorganic fertilizer applications in hope to cure their farms. But the situation never really changed.
Eduru time say me dua no bai ni fifi a 2 weeks e kona ma hono fet no 15 ne ammonia no na ye dia fra na ye dia man no bai no na aye kama saa na ye no anjin yale bi ba so a esan say ye nim hu nim die nti na ye nim aha nti no na ye de ye nana ye de te ye no bai no saa.
Their situation reflects that of many farmers across the country who overly depend on the sole application of inorganic fertilizers to increase their yields. Excessive fertilizer applications have been found to destroy the natural soil integrity and profile. After the series of tests, the sample was found to be unhealthy for the plant growth. It had higher acidity levels of 4.7 and declining nutrients. This affirms a recent study by the Soil Research Institute of the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, which revealed soils in the Bosomtwe, Bosomefrel, and Amansia East districts were declining in fertility. 68% of soils in these three farming areas were proven to be more acidic. Dr. Francis Tete is the lead researcher.
Looking at what we have here, it is telling us that at least 68% of the soils are very acidic. Just imagine the whole, this whole area, 68% of the land are acidic. You see, which means that we have to correct that this problem. We used to say that, oh, the soils are adequate, Ghanaian soils are adequate in potassium. No, they are not, because we are always mining the soil.
Illegal mining has become a bane to agriculture in the country, destroying many arable farmlands as they are found to use poisonous chemicals in extracting the mineral ores like gold. But it has become crucial for the country and its citizens to protect the once virgin land which served the agricultural needs of the ancestors.
The soil is important. It is a non-renewable natural resource. If you lose it, you will never get it again.
But amidst this stark reality, the scientists are proposing solutions to restore the declining soil fertility.
So we need to correct the acidity. That is why, for instance, when the vice president was talking about the use of lime. Lime will correct this, but we have not trained our farmers to use lime.
And be sure to catch Food Chain during this weekend here on Joy News. That's our program. Thanks for watching. More news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. Enjoy your weekend.